AI is going to take over the world, and what are we going to do, especially in the moving space? Those that have looked at how can I automate my business with utilizing these tools are skyrocketing. Like they are just taking off.
100%.
Welcome back to Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmon's Moving and Storage and Ellis Moving and Storage, located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. And it is Movified Mondays. We are super excited. We got a returning guest. We have Wes Struebing with NextMuv. What's up, Wes? How are you?
Yo, how are you, sir?
Not bad, not bad. It was great to see Wes and be able to hang out with them at the Moving Tent retreat. That was over in St. Pete's, Florida, a couple weeks ago.
A good time was had by all.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was definitely more human than I wanted it to be, but it was like just the right amount.
In spite of the fact that everyone was talking about AI, it was very, very human. Very humid.
It's funny. I remember when ChatGPT first came out, and it was like such a buzz, and that was almost like 2 years ago now, and everybody was just going bonkers on it. And now you look at AI and the possibilities, and watching people build sites, build forms, build everything now with Claude and chat, and the way things can work. And people, even when ChatGPT first came out, people were so nervous, going, "Oh, this is going to be such a huge disruption, and AI is going to take over the world, and what are we going to do, especially in the moving space?" And those that have adapted, those that have looked at how can I automate my business with utilizing these tools are skyrocketing. Like they are just taking off.
100%. And luckily for the movers, no one can replace a mover with AI yet. So we'll see
No.
what robotics.
Not yet, but I tell you, sometimes after month ends, you're like, man, I could totally use that AI robot. So it's one of those fun things. But yeah, me and Wes, we really want to try. We've probably tried like 3 or 4 different times to sit down and have a follow-up discussion and chat about, what to avoid, what to look for when it comes to interstate jobs. But it just did not come in the bags. And we said, we're gonna have to do this and make time.
We're both far too social.
We are way too social. If you weren't in a conversation, I was in a conversation.
Yeah,
so,
never saw.
let's give everybody a quick rundown, Wes, on NextMuv, your position in it, what it does, what it is, and then I want to kind of just hit the ball running with a bunch of questions.
Sure, that sounds great. So I'm Wes Struebing, of course, as you mentioned before. I'm the CEO of NextMuv, and NextMuv is really positioned as a serious industry disruptor. What we are is, and we'll refer to it as the Uber for moving. A lot of people have said that, but we are the only entity that has an instant guaranteed pricing engine for interstate moving. And what we're doing with that is we're putting local movers and independent movers in the interstate moving business.
Now, and I've talked about this, I've talked about this before, and I'm pretty sure when you were on the show last, it was one of those things where people, and I can hear you, those that they're watching, they're listening, and they're going, yeah, but there's got to be a catch. Like it doesn't make any sense. So I'm talking to Mrs. Jones. She's moving from, Cleveland to Philadelphia, and she's moving long distance. And we're based off in Cleveland. We're going to be doing this move. And I can literally go on to NextMove, log in, and type in this information, put down the estimated weight, and automatically get a price that is guaranteed.
Yes, that's correct. With 5 small pieces of information. And that's where, so I don't know if we've talked about this before, but private equity, in essence, has thrown $1 billion at trying to create Uber for moving. And everyone is crash and burn. And we could go through the list, but it's not worth talking about. But when you go on to Uber, what's the first thing you want to know?
Well, I want to know how much it is.
How much to arrive.
Yeah.
No other entity has been able to provide an instant guarantee price. We do that. That's why it's working so far. And it's a very sophisticated algorithm. If you were to print it out, it's 5 pages of math, right? I mean, hard, difficult math with different independencies. Like we pull Zillow data and other data into this equation. to get to that price. So it's not unsophisticated. It's pretty challenging, actually.
When someone is, I always say this all the time. I always got all these questions for you, and then I kind of go off on my own tangents.
That's okay.
Um,
I really like to talk. Let's go.
I know. Let's go. Let's go. When I kind of still want to run this scenario out here because when I am a moving company owner and I go, okay, great, I want to add this extra value. I want to start doing long distance. So I go on your site, I build a profile, I am putting in my tariff pricings. Am I putting in kind of what my costs are, especially if and my areas of service that I can provide my trucks for? I would assume that you're trying to build up a massive database. This whole system doesn't work without guys like us, gals like us that are in the industry, that are have the trucks, have the capability. Um, like, can you run through that like play?
Sure. No, I think that's a really good question. So at the end of the day, what we do is we vet every single partner and we call them partners. We also call them our local heroes, but we vet every single local hero independently. So there's a lot of different things you might be able to do in our network or provide services in our network, but we've got 1,200 of them all over the country.
So with 1,200 vetted uh, moving companies that are around, it should never be an issue then to service moving cross country.
Well, and I think that's the other part of our equation, right? We say we're the Uber for moving, but at the same time, we've kind of switched the logistical model attached to moving. And some of our customers like to refer to us as like the Amazon for moving. But we have what we do is use our local partners for a full service, full crew for a local load. The intermediate transportation is irrelevant, right? It just needs to get from point A to point B. Then we use a full service crew at destination. And that's what makes things a lot more flexible and frankly, much higher quality. In fact, we're kicking the tar out of the quality engine as compared to what our van line partners are doing for the most part in corporate accounts that you guys are familiar with.
For those that are um, now trying to get this process going in their heads, they have Mrs. Jones. She has 10,000 pounds of stuff, of household goods, and she's moving across North America. She's saying, okay, great. Yeah, I'm moving from, LA to Tampa, sure, or Miami. I'm going across. I'm moving from one side to the other. I'm located in LA. We give her the price based off our like origin pricing. So I'm going to quote her based on, okay, we're going to send, 4 or 5 guys, 2 trucks to go pick up your goods, bring it back to the warehouse to make sure everything is all inventoried, tagged, and list. This is the situation. And then and then I've given her a separate price to go, okay, and this is what it's going to cost now to ship it from our location out to Miami, and that person is including the travel across, the logistics shipping across, and the offload into the new house, correct?
No, it's a little bit different than that. So first of all, you have to be certified to be a local partner
You're
because a
all
lot of
good.
times we're going to containerize these goods. So unless you know how to international pack and wrap, you're not going to be qualified instantly to provide origin services for our network.
Okay.
So that's
So
probably the you
so
get
I
out.
so so I already went through that, right? I've went through the process. I am now I've been vetted. I am part of the partnership in here. I am that local hero for NextMove. Am I getting is NextMove providing me the lift vans or the containers to have this? Am I in
Yep. Unless you want to provide those, but you'd be compensated for those as well. So when we onboard you, your rates will be input into our system. So our system will pull those rates when you're quoting a price to a customer. And that's probably the other big deal worth of a difference compared to us and all of our competitors. So the people that have called you for a move have called you for a reason, right? Whether it's a referral, they know you, they found you. What they don't want to do is be put on hold saying someone else will contact you and someone else will follow up. You do that, you've just lost 50% of everyone that's called you. That's one of the reasons why the instant guaranteed price is so important because you can go and get a price instantly, quote the customer instantly, and then lock in the price and lock in their move right when you're on the phone.
But when that price that's being pumped out to me, what is that all including? Or
It's an all
am I allowed to choose what I want it to include?
Yeah, there's two options, right? Either you can have a full service move, which is your typical move that you can imagine. No packing, just loading, unloading, the whole professional move. The second option is a full pack. As you can imagine, our as smart as our algorithm is, I can't understand what a partial pack will look like because that's wildly different for everybody who's doing it,
Totally.
right? What one thing that we do after we book that move, we will go back and do a visual survey of every single move to confirm the details with an outside firm to make sure that there's nothing funny or nothing amiss.
Before we ever started using a moving CRM, someone asked me, could you 10x what you're doing right now with the current systems and processes you have in place? And I said no. And so he was like, well, then you need to just pull the trigger on the software. And then I saw Smart Moving and it was game over.
Austin joined thousands of moving owners on Smart Moving in 2021. Since then, he's more than doubled his business.
And I always compare Smart Moving to Apple products. It's just so simple, so easy to use. And that's really what's allowed my team to scale and now have 2 branches. And last year we scaled Central Coast Moving over 50% growth.
If you're ready to turn your moving company into a machine that drives profit, not chaos, try Smart Moving.
If you're considering Snowball, just do it.
Snowball creates done-for-you referral programs for moving companies so you can turn happy customers into new revenue without lifting a finger. And the results speak for themselves.
In less than a year, we've collected over 2,000 referrals.
We generated over $200,000 of revenue that cost about $5,000 to do it.
I believe we have 4 or 5 the very first day.
The companies winning with Snowball are the ones that already care about their customers. We just help turn that into new business through human outreach and customer nurturing.
Snowball is part of the arsenal of tools that I recommend to my clients because it works.
The pricing that does get pumped out, if I say I want the full service, does it still include my company picking it up because they're booking with me?
It does.
Okay, so that includes my rates that I plugged into the system.
Yep.
I'm included in this. We're picking it up. We are putting it into lift vans or pallets, however you look at whatever you're providing, and or NextMove can provide that. And do you have like a selling model then that goes into there where everybody can invest in to purchase these lift vans that maybe have e-tracks in there or extra moving pads or some type of tracking device?
So we either use overseas lip bands, a typical wooden lip band that you've seen during your moving career, I'm certain, or we have different pod type containers that we utilize, and they're ours. So you don't have to buy anything.
How are you getting it to my location though?
Either we will provide it at your location, or sometimes, like my bet is, Mark, you're a good example. My bet is you've got lip bands at your warehouse. Am I right? Yeah. So in that case, we would just agree on a price for those lip bands, and that's what you'd load.
Gotcha. But let's say I didn't. Let's say my warehouse didn't.
Then we'd provide them.
Okay. And then you just try and map out. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't want to keep expanding there. I just think there's people that are listening to this going, like, how does this work once I've been completely vetted and I am part of the group? And I love the fact that you are going through not just like every Tom, Dick, and Harry that has an ABC moving company can just go ahead and join, because the quality of service is going to get run down. And you're probably also looking for moving companies that are at a size to be able to take these items in, because if it's being shipped, you want to make sure that they have a dock or a warehouse or something. Or is that not the case?
You nail that one, right? So we only work with local partners that provide services that do have a dock and a warehouse. You have to have a warehouse to be a local service provider.
Yeah, I like
Now,
that.
you can have 0 docks and just be a sales partner for our organization, and we'll still put you in the interstate moving business, but it'll limit your scope and ability to service those moves yourself.
Right. Yeah. I mean, now I'm just turning around and helping book the jobs, getting my cut off the book as a booking agent, but I'm really not servicing. I'm not making anything off the front end or the back end of
Correct.
the moves. Yeah, for sure. Most movers though, like really trying to avoid interstate moves, right? The DOTs, the different compliance headaches, like all the different things that go on. What's the number one compliance mistake that most movers try and that usually get in trouble?
Oh man, that one's simple. They wing it, right? They just wing it. And I don't think a lot of times they understand the ramifications of what they're doing when they're quote unquote winging it. And I've seen a lot of these partners that will go out and they'll rent like a U-Haul truck or a Ryder truck as a separate truck, thinking that they can sneak around and act as if they're doing a do-it-yourself move for a friend or something like that. But the problem is, if you have a customer that files a complaint with the DOT or with the FMCSA, you're in an ass load of trouble, right? All of a sudden, they're going to do the legal nightmares will start flying. They're going to do an audit, and you know, you're going to be potentially just put out of business real quick.
I bet you that happens so much.
Yeah, and I think what's funny is I think they get enticed by the fact that they see the big dollars attached to an interstate move, and they think they're bigger dollars, and so they get all kind of really excited about it. At the end of the day, you make more money operating legally, keeping your trucks in town locally, and tossing interstate move to us than anything else. I mean, we'll show you the business case for it. You'll just make more money, and it's just ridiculous not to.
Well, and can you give me like a little bit of a case study where a local moving company partnered with NextMove, avoided some of these pitfalls, right? And made some serious interstate revenue?
Well, I think one of the partners we just had, in fact, I mentioned this at the Moving Titan Retreat for anyone who was there, and if you saw this, I'm sorry it was redundant, but we had a partner join us in Atlanta. In their very first month with us, they referred 4 moves to us, and they made $7,000 on leads that they were going to throw away.
Right.
Yeah, how many more leads could you go and buy for local moves with $7,000? How much more money is that back in your pocket? And that's why this is a no-risk, all-win scenario for movers.
It's yeah, I mean, for those that have never touched interest rate, like how do you explain NextMove's compliance support, like in really easy language when it comes to that?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So we're a household goods freight forwarder, which essentially means exactly what I said before in my model. We're coupling a series of transportation transactions together to facilitate one single movement, right? And that is exactly what a forwarder does. And that's how we're licensed. So we're coordinating the first mile, the main transport, and the final mile for a single shipment. All under our insurance. We buy an insurance policy on every single move independently, and we only use those vetted partners.
Well, and that's like, I feel like that's where it kind of happens where someone says, okay, well, it got now to Miami. Mrs. Jones got her shipment. TV's broken, right? She got a couple items that are scratched, and she really did not like the movers that were offloading her. They were smoking, they had issues, taking too many breaks. Like we hear the stories, right? So like, what does that look like?
Well, that's where we're pretty serious about who we allow into the network to begin with, Mark. So that goes back to our previous conversation. We're not just letting any Tom, Dick, and Harry in the network. We need people that are serious about quality. And by the way, we booked over 5,000 moves last year. So we represent a substantial revenue opportunity for service provision for all of our partner network. So, and they all know that they're gauged based on their quality first and their cost second. So we get a really good high level performance out of those crews. So am I going to tell you that we've never had an issue on site? Well, of course we have. All movers have. But I will tell you that our instances of trouble are a fraction of what I've seen. And I think you know this. I spent 30 years in the van line networks. I grew up in them. This logistics process today for performing professional moves is a better one from a quality perspective, really for that reason.
You see that, but when you talk to those that are in the van lines and they look at someone like yourself and your team, and they go, sure, like we've been doing, the van lines have been doing this for umpteen years, right? 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years in North America. And we're not even talking about how Europe's set up, but most of these van lines have been successful or held a lot of the large government accounts and have provided good service because they stayed in the game. And companies like NextMove come and go, and they've seen it over the last 30, 40 years, where everybody just tries to say, hey, I can do it better than a van line. What do you say to the naysayers?
Well, look, I was one of those guys for 30 years. I'm a third generation in this business. My grandfather started a moving business at the end of the Great Depression. So we've been there, we've done that, we've got the t-shirt. And I will tell you, it used to be, you could not talk me out of the fact that that single driver experience was the best possible moving experience for anybody moving interstate. But the sad truth is that that has all changed. And that really is all changed because the state of common labor, and you know this problem as well as I do, and you may have a really good driver, but the problem is that really good driver has to find local labor to help support his load and unload efforts. And that's where it falls off. That's where it becomes less controlled. And when you're relying on things like Facebook groups to find people, that's a pretty faulty methodology. You're finding really good, high quality people. Instead, we send, like I said, a whole vetted crew out to perform services, both at origin and destination. And you may think that, we were coming and going, but I think that you probably know as well as I do, the van lines are in trouble. Their revenue is falling. The current way moving is marketed does not support their model because they just they're all they're interested in is interstate leads, not local leads. And so while there may have been some that have come and gone, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here.
Hey everyone, Matty Mailers here, the guy who pioneered handwritten letters for the moving industry. Why? Because my competition at my moving company was using the same stock postcards as me, and my mailing company didn't care. So I created a better way. Here's some mind-blowing results in July. Miracle Movers Utah closed $93,000 using our handwritten letter strategy. With our campaigns, you can forget about the guessing games. You get a trackable phone number, daily photo proof, an incredible design team, and I'm also included. All letters stop at me for approval before they ever leave our facility. Right now, Movified listeners get 1,000 golden tickets stuffed in our genuine handwritten letters completely free. Plus, I'm going to throw in bulk realtor data for up to 5 counties. What are you waiting for? Moving Letters AI. Stop competing, start dominating.
Being found on the second page of Google is literally like having a billboard in the middle of the desert. Your mama ain't gonna see it. No one's gonna see it. You're on the second page of Google, no one's gonna call, no one's gonna book. Here is the deal. If your business is not ranking on the top of Google, that means your competitors are going to be stealing your customers every single day. So at Rotate Digital, we don't play any guessing games. We use data-driven SEO strategies to make sure Google finds you first so that these Google searches turn into your customers, not your competitors' customers. How do we do it? We do it through AI-driven keyword optimization, exclusive blog networks, backlinking strategies, and honestly, the secret stuff, the proprietary lead attribution software. So what do you get as a result? You get not only good marketing, but now you get clarity into what is bringing you more revenue. So if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure your leads find you and not your competition, go ahead and go to rotatedigital.com, schedule a call, and we'll help you take your business to the top of Google.
A lot of van lines that I've talked to at different events have said, they're implementing the containerized style movement as well too. They're shifting somewhere over towards freight shipments from going and having the PVO drivers that are driving across North America. Most of those drivers have are slowly dying out. They're aging out. They're either tired or worn out because they're on the road 300 days out of the year, and the lack of seeing their family and everything else. And of course, their children have grown up and says, hey, just like yourself that are in that next generation, go, I'd rather just stay local. It makes more sense for me just to do a couple of the cities around me, maybe the max, a 5-hour drive, spread in a radius. And so they say, well, okay, great. Well, we're just going to go to the lift-in model, same model that NextMove is doing, right? This is how we're going to service our customers as well too. Do you find that that will still be some sort of competition or a setup to try and hinder NextMove's growth?
So I don't think it'll necessarily hinder our growth at all. I think at least at this point in time, we're very unique in this space. But again, we're the only firm with our own software and our own instant guaranteed price AI-driven pricing engine.
Yeah, I've never. Have you ever run into an issue from the moving companies when they've received the shipment and said, "Whoa, like this was so underquoted"?
No, because we do the visual survey in advance of any move, right? Or the virtual survey. So that prevents that problem long before anything is loaded. Now, you and I have both been on moves where, oh, surprise, we have this too,
For
right?
sure. Oh
Yeah. But
but
it's
that 5,000 pound move just turned into a 16,000 pound move because I forgot that whole extra wing of my house.
right. And I think that our virtual survey process prevents that to a great degree because we've got a very good partner that does it. But sometimes things like that do happen. The one thing that's nice about our model is it's still more logistically flexible than that single driver model because they plan their space very specifically. And when it doubles, that's big trouble in that world. Not
So
an
you
ours.
do so when that situation does happen, there's still a good way to pivot.
Yes, quickly.
Yeah. It's kind of flipping back to some of my questions on here. You know, many movers say no to interstate leads, right? And we kind of talked about this before with the Atlanta company that was, a good success story because they don't want the risk. How do you feel of these actually costing them money in the long run?
Well, I guess to me, saying no to those is saying, no, I don't want your free money, right? I'm not interested in free money at all. Free money is terrible. At the end of the day, they think they're avoiding risk, but what they're really avoiding is training their competitors to feast on what their leftovers are. Because either you're going to dominate in your market or you're going to get eaten for lunch. And part of dominating your market is having a solution for interstate moving, period. Now, you've got to have one that, of course, is going to support your quality level because you don't want us to affect your reviews or your ratings either, right? But in my way of thinking, Mark, this isn't risk avoidance. This is market suicide. It makes no sense.
Do you find, with having you set up to, what was it, 1,200 moving companies now part of it? Is there still certain areas that would come up that, I probably know the answer to this, that can't be serviced, but what do you do in the situation where, someone is typing it in, this is where the customer's moving to? Do you make sure that each moving company has a certain type of radius of where they can service so that that small town, that location, that lake country where that family wants to move to can actually get serviced? And then do you, as a follow-up, do you work with that destination agent to say, hey, okay, great, do you have guys available that can help service this? Or do you rely on whoever's going to be the booker to make sure that's taken care of?
Yeah. So the let's back up into some of these different questions. There's a few questions
I
buried
got
in
lots. I know, I hit them with all.
there. So at the end of the day, we do verify exactly where they want to service, and that is what is in our system, right? So we're not going to try and talk you into servicing something way out and beyond unless we're in a pinch from a capacity perspective, and then we'll call you and we'll ask you. But at the end of the day, we're open to adding any new partners anywhere, only because they're going to have leads. They're going to be able to sell jobs on their own, which means they're going to have jobs that they can also service or book into our network. So we really don't limit anybody. And what we do, like I said before, is we're vetting everybody in advance, and then they're over time awarded business based on quality first, cost second. That's how you get the business.
The as you're kind of sharing this, I'm thinking in my head, there are guys that want to get vetted, right? There's moving companies that go, man, I would love to get on this list because I want to expand into interstate, but I don't know if I'm at that point, but I want to get on the list so that I can at least service customers if it's coming into my area because I want to help build a little extra revenue. What do you say to those individuals?
Yeah, so provide you with destination services because you obviously don't need to do the international pack and wrap to unload and unwrap goods, right? So the vetting is pretty easy there as long as you're performing good quality work. What is also interesting is, so I'll give you an example, Mark. Our biggest customer knows that they're not very good at interstate loading, so they don't even want to entertain it. So they're never even interested in having their services into that bucket to provide local services. They'll provide destination services, right? But they want us to find partners in those markets to provide those services for them. But they still want to book it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is NextMove's fees, when I think of van lines, obviously the van lines get their cut, they get their fees, right off the top when you're booking a long distance move. For NextMove, and you're getting that instant quoted price, is your fee already taken out? Is that broken out so that the moving company already kind of sees, okay, this is what NextMove is getting off this top?
So one thing I absolutely hated about being in the van line network is they dictate to you exactly what you're going to make on every single move. And that's garbage. That was my customer. We brought them here. Who are you to tell me what I can make or not make? So
Sure.
what we are is we're a wholesaler. So the price that you see is a wholesale price. You get to choose what your markup is, period. Now, I wouldn't suggest you try to mark it up, 40%, but every customer is unique. Your relationship with every customer is unique, and you are best positioned to understand what a markup should be on any one given move and what a customer is willing to pay. But our price is a wholesale price.
So I mean, when I think of the van lines, you have the options of here's your price, and you can add a discount on there to, I guess, eventually get down the wholesale price. But when you're using NextMove, that is the wholesale price. This is your move. It's going to cost you $5,000 to get this from point A to point B. If you want to go back to your customer and say, hey, listen, it's going to cost you $7,500, and they go, great, you've made $2,500 off the top. That's what the rest is going to cost on there. And once I've booked that move, does it provide me with the breakdown of that $5,000 for what I would still get on top of that?
Yes, it will.
So really, I could actually be making more than $2,500. I could be making my cut off the $5,000 for the booking, and for picking it up, and then I've just made the extra gravy on top.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You can make more money doing this and having us service the interstate portion of the transaction than if you were to do it yourself.
What does it look like for cross-border? You got a lot of Canadian listeners that like to tune in that are probably sitting here quite intrigued going, I got the warehouse and, we run 3-4 trucks or, and we have a dock. We can, even a grade level. I don't know what we can make something work. But how does it work when it comes to cross-border shipments? I got that shipment from Toronto going to New York or Vancouver going to Seattle or vice versa. How does that look like?
We do all kinds of cross-border moves and international moves as well, right? Including moves to Hawaii, etc. We don't have instant guaranteed pricing for those moves. We have to take a step back and say, hey, let's schedule the virtual survey right then and there with you and your team. And then we'll move on from there.
Right.
And provide the price. We'll get there. We're just not there yet.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, a lot of the times when I think of the cross-border, it's really some simplistic logistics where the pricing can be there. It's trying to make sure that those trucks that are in the States can operate up in the Canada and vice versa. So,
right.
And back to that compliance issue. In a world where customers Google cheap movers near me, how can movers reframe the conversation and win business at a premium without getting dragged into a race to the bottom?
That is a very, very good question. I think that what you have to focus on is what customers are ultimately most concerned about and most passionate about. You have to engage it into a conversation around things that are truly, ultimately, vitally important. Because at the end of the day, if they don't get their stuff when they want their stuff, that's a much bigger problem than saving $200 on a move. If their stuff is completely destroyed and damaged, that's a much bigger problem than $200 on a move. Maybe even more than $1,000 on a move. So our focus, and one of the reasons that I think that we help with this sales problem, is we have the most flexible, because of the way we're modeled, we have the most flexible transit times. We can be super fast, or we can hold it and be slow, and we can deliver your goods on the day and time that you want, and not whatever else can say that. Right? So we're very flexible. We kind of wrap ourselves around the customer. And I think, again, I'm going to focus on what the customer really wants and needs, and making sure all that is addressed before getting raked over the coals on pure price. And if you want to take the risk, and if you want to take a look at the road movers and the unfortunate brokers out there in this world, I mean, you can Google those articles all day long. If that's what you want to do and fall victim to that price, go ahead.
So like the guy's named cheapomovers.com. You should probably rechange your name.
Let's make a deal moving and storage. That's not
yes. Best price movers, right?
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Look, when we look ahead and we think of actually, before I jump into this, Wes,
sure,
you've been doing this forever. I think I asked you this before
That's great.
too.
Now I feel super old, Mark.
Well, you started when you were 8. You started when you're 8. You're a hard 50. I get it. It's all good. Give me, you got to have had some crazy wild stories from like the 80s and 90s. Like what? I mean, now I'm really aging if I say 80s, but like at least let's say 90s. Sorry, Wes. Can you give me a wild difference, or what was it like being on a move back then compared to what it is now? Like just in a sense of, just customers, or just like the wild west of moving.
Well, let's see. So I went on my first full service interstate move to do a move for a family when I was 14 years old. And I'm 6'4", former college football player. I did not look like I was 14 years old back when I went on that move. But it didn't matter back then, right? It probably matters a whole lot more today.
Sure.
I couldn't believe how hard it was to move people. Like, I will never forget how soundly I slept in that truck on the way back to the yard after spending all day moving those people. And I think that part of it probably hasn't changed very much. But man, I can tell you stories, Mark, about my dad taking a union company non-union. Our family business was on 60 Minutes. We had a union boss come up to my dad in front of me and tell him that he was going to go to jail in 4 years. And before he went to jail, my dad would either be dead or out of business.
How did he get out of the union?
He opened up a separate company and slowly bled off assets and people to the new company. The union blew up my dad's accountant's car. They had picket lines set up. People were shot. Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And you made it on 60 Minutes.
And he made it on 60 Minutes, yeah.
Regarding this whole dispute and the whole issues, or was it up for a whole different topic?
It was really about the union not wanting anyone to be non-union.
I mean, it's definitely a situation for sure.
Yeah, it was kind of, well, as a kid at that point in time, it was pretty terrifying.
Right.
Yeah. And that was the intent. They tried to terrify you by design to get you to stop.
Do you think everything that played out back then could be done today?
No, I don't think it could be done as much today, because there's no more dirty little secrets. It was much easier to keep dirty little secrets back then. Today, it's just much more challenging. There's a camera everywhere. Everybody's watching everything. It's just more challenging.
Like you're going to get busted for blowing up that car.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have got that on camera. We're gonna know who did it.
Yeah. Back then, it's just who knows. It was the neighbor. If we look ahead 3 to 5 years,
Yeah.
where do you see the biggest shifts happening, especially for interstate moving?
Well, I think the model shift that we're pursuing is one of those major shifts. I think that we're at the forefront of that. I think that has to change. Yeah, I think that you've seen it just like I've seen it. I mean, I've seen some world-class drivers in this van line world. They've left the industry because they can't make the money that they used to make. And the digital logging of everything is what really was the initial driver behind that. Because they'd always keep 2 books and they would run hot and that just there's no escaping that anymore. So they can't make the same money. And to enable that to make that kind of money again, the moving rates would have to be so astronomically high that the public wouldn't pay for it. So again, the model has to change. This logistics model, I think, is the long-term winner in this space.
What's up, guys? It's Austin Yarrow with the Moving Army. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure you're crushing it, you're growing your business, and you don't need any help. Majority of you probably don't. But the thing is that information alone isn't enough. If you're looking for someone to hold you accountable, work with you, and collaborate with others in our industry with teams that are killing it, crushing it, you need to join the Moving Army. This is my invitation to you. You can text my personal cell, 805-441-6118. I'll see you soon and wait for your call. Join the Moving Army today.
Hey, it's Mark with Movified, and I'm here to talk about Canada Home Listings. They are the only direct mailer service built specifically for household good movers in Canada. That's right, my hometown. They help moving companies reach homeowners the moment they list their home with proven mail campaigns that drive results. And for the Movified listeners, they're offering exclusive promotions you won't find anywhere else. So go check them out today. Go online, go do your thing, and go find them. Canada Home Listings, right now. Go. And then keep watching the show.
Mark with Movified. It is the Dolly Dash moment, Titan edition. I got Maddie Malis here. Maddie, how are you, buddy?
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, gonna hit you with some rapid fires. It is day 2 at this event. We've had lots of speakers. What's one of the biggest takeaways that you've heard that you want to implement in your business right away?
Positivity, number one. Positivity and culture, right? Just hitting that light switch. You know, you got to turn on that light switch sometimes, and you got to kind of have that positive mindset. Mindset's everything, baby.
I love it. All right, next one's up. It's been from one year to the next, from the Titan events that we've been part of. What is something that you've implemented this last year that's helped grow your business?
Yeah, I would say, getting virtual assistants, ready roles, where you can go ahead and get those VAs and start placing them in to do our social media or even some admin work, that assistance, and then being able to stretch your budget. You're not paying someone locally $25, $30 an hour to do a job like that. You're paying them a lot less so that you can, you obviously can kind of scale that up. That's helped us a lot, just having people that we can kind of help support our business.
Me and you do a lot of traveling. We do a lot of traveling also together.
Yeah.
What's one thing that you always seem to forget in your luggage when packing that you're like, oh, shoot, I wish I had that?
Well, the one thing I didn't want to forget is this camera equipment, Mark, for you, or the microphones. But, man, I don't know, dude. It's always something, right? It's like either sandals or a belt or just stuff that you're like, you don't even think about until you get here and you're like, bro, why? So
I love it. I love it. Moving forward for 2026, what's the one thing you now want to take from this event and implement with your team?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So I think, obviously getting back and taking that little positivity and not being the drama in my business, right? Sometimes I kind of invite that negativity, invite that drama. Hey, did you hear what this person said, this person? And trying to kind of just be that positive leader who can just kind of show positivity throughout our company without bringing culture down. So that would be the number one.
You want to be in the light, not the darkness.
Light in the dark, baby.
That's right. All right, let's go. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Maddie.
Let's go.
Moving letters.
And I mean, that kind of ties into, especially with technology and compliance and I kind of listed down even like price models and consumer expectations. It's always one thing we love to talk about Lyft and Uber and all of those types of driving models, the skip the dishes that's out there, right? It's when you're looking at how can we simplify the process that we do every day, or one of the biggest challenges that we face, whether it's needing a taxi, right? That got fixed and corrected. Whether we need food, how does it look like for, getting your food delivered to yourself, going out to a restaurant, getting reservations, all of these kind of things, and having access to menus without having to, having to. I bet you, Wes, you can remember, as a kid going into your parents' kitchen cabinet drawer, and you open it up and there's like 50 different menus from different restaurants because they were going to phone this restaurant. They wanted to make sure it was all right there. They're going to order takeout and hope that the stuff gets delivered. They don't know when it's going to get delivered. It arrives cold because some guy had to go across town, 5 different places, and you still had no idea.
But it was a drawer with all the packets in it too, to make sure if they forgot anything, you had extra packets of stuff to put on your food.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. How much? all that extra soy sauce, and
right.
Yeah. And the plum sauces and the ketchups and everything you can think of. And then someone swashes it. Anyways, I'm going on a tangent on that one. But it really kind of goes on to the moving world, right? It's one of those things that we talk about on the show, and about automation and trying to simplify. And I know, especially when we think of both of us talking about what does it look like 3 to 5 years ahead, the start to finish on such an important milestone in someone's life, whether it's, they're upgrading from an apartment to a house, whether there's a death in the family, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a growth in the family, whether maybe it's an upset and it's a job loss and now they have to downsize. It's such an impact on someone's lives when you are relying on someone that you have no idea who they are, people to come into your house, pack up your goods, wrap up your goods, move them, and bring them to your new house, to start this whole new journey that you're about to embrace. And you can't even confirm the job with them. You can't even send off an email confirmation. You can't even call them ahead of time that you're on your way. There's all these different steps that the automation is already out there, that if you're not already applying yourself on this, you might as well close up your doors. You need to get on it today. And I see the future heading even more to making sure customer service is there, right? And compliance, I find, is a huge issue when it comes to technology. Technology can be there. You can have the technology. You can have this all there. But if you're still doing a sloppy job at the compliance side of things, whether it's the training of the guys, whether it's your paperwork, whether it's, dotting your I's and crossing your T's, not renting that, Penske or Ryder truck to do an interstate move that's going to get you possibly busted, and now you have fines and more issues, and now you're on 60 minutes because you're fleeing from the cops because you misquoted a customer because you didn't put in your proper paperwork, or didn't get the proper quotes. It needs to be there, and I find that companies like yourself and NextMove are on the right path, especially when it comes to expanding your division. Right? You are expanding an opportunity where you don't have to be the local COD household move. You actually can book that person, that family, that company that is moving multiple states away. And and with such ease. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yep. It's a cakewalk. In fact, people are shocked. Like, that's it? That's all there is to it? Like, yeah, that's all there is to it. And Mark, for me, I think I told you about my family legacy in this moving industry. This is a passion play for me. Like, I am sick and tired of the bad movers and the negative connotations attached to moving, period. And I'm going to work my ass off to change that. And that's what our company is going to do, period.
Hi, I'm Mark Hirschi with Salmon's Moving and Storage. Today, I want to talk about tying up training. Why? Because this is Netflix grade quality training. It's not those old videos and VHSs that you got hiding in your office somewhere. It's online, it's easy to use, they're short videos, but they get to the point. My new employees, these guys run through these training programs, there's tests at the end, and they're coming out going, oh, I'm ready to rock. So if you haven't checked out Tighten Up Training yet, get a demo done, get on board. Guess what else is there? Online portals for my sales staff. Can you believe it? These guys can learn how to overcome objections and book more leads today. So what are you waiting for? Go check out Tighten Up Training today.
It's a great mission. Great mission, and it's a great way to say this has been a pleasure.
I love talking with you, Mark.
I love it. I love it. We have such a great hit. It's always so much fun to sit down and talk with you, Wes. We're also, and for all those that are watching, and listening, you might start seeing a little bit more of Wes. He has a couple of his own guests that he wants to have on here, and you might see him a little bit on those Movified Fridays coming up. Who knows? We'll see what happens. We're excited to see the growth of Movified. For anybody that has not filled out that form on movifiednation.com, go fill it out right away. We want to know. We want to know where we can help, where we can grow. We want this community to grow. We are already launching our third mastermind. We're already getting people on the waiting list so that we can help grow this community. And there's movers like myself. There's movers like Wes. There are movers out there waiting to learn and to work alongside others that are already doing it, right? There's so much you can learn from someone like Wes, myself, Stephen Reed, Prob, Chris Sweet. Like the list goes on of guys that have been in industry for 3 generations, or guys that have been in industry for 5 years. I bet there's lots of stuff that Wes can learn too from the young bucks that are coming up quick. So with all of us working together, that's how we make these 3 to 5 years really kick and skyrocket the moving industry. Always a pleasure, Wes, and stay Movified, everybody. And until next time,
happy Monday.
Happy Monday.